afternoon and welcome to the August 12th, 2021 hearing of the Seminole County, Florida Special Magistrate. Before we begin, I would like to advise everyone about the procedures that govern appearances before the Special Magistrate. This meeting is open to the public under Florida's Government in the Sunshine Law. Therefore, every effort will be made to hear all persons having relevant evidence or argument to offer. The ethics law of the state of Florida requires that the county keep track of every person who appears before an official hearing officer of the county, whether in an effort to influence the special magistrate's decision-making or to encourage the passage, defeat, or modification of any proposal or recommendation of the special magistrate. In order to implement the state law, it is required that every person who appears before the special magistrate be registered with the clerk to my left. The cases where the respondents are present and signed in will be heard first. You will be sworn in or affirmed by the clerk. Once all cases where the respondents are present have been heard, I will return to hear the remaining cases as they appear on the agenda. When your case is called, please be seated at the table reserved for the respondents, which is the blue table over here. In that the county has the burden of proving a violation exists, the county will present their case and then the respondents will be allowed to present their case. Additionally, please limit your comments to only information relating to your case. Each party may question witnesses offered on behalf of the other party. Additionally, staff members may question those appearing before the special magistrate. I will then make my decision based upon the evidence and testimony as presented by both parties. All proceedings before me are electronically recorded. Please speak directly into the microphone at the center of the table and state your name clearly before presenting your case. Should you need assistance due to a hearing impairment or a language barrier, please inform the clerk as soon as possible. To avoid interference with cases being presented, all cell phones and other electronic devices are to be turned off or silenced while inside these chambers. Thank you for your cooperation. The first case that I'll call is number 2124 CESM, respondents Shane and Michelle Ryder. Yes. Before we start that case, the clerk is going to swear everybody in, but you can still come down, sir. Thank you. Would you all stand and raise your right hand, please?
I do.
Thank you, ma'am.
We are starting with 2124 CESM whenever staff is ready.
Good afternoon. Tom Helly with the Building Division. This is case 2124 CESM. Shane T. Ryder and Michelle D. Ryder. I have submitted a copy of the PowerPoint presentation to the clerk and asked to be admitted in evidence.
It is accepted.
Thank you. Shane T. Ryder and Michelle D. Ryder, 675 Coffee Trail, Seminole County Code violations, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1, constructed multiple accessory structures without the required permits. Case summaries: initial inspection was done August 24th to 20 with various other inspections, and we also had in the midst of that the executive order suspending enforcement because of COVID, various follow-up inspections as indicated on the PowerPoint, and the results of the re-inspections, the violations remain on the property. This is a PowerPoint. This is the property appraiser's website page showing that the respondents are in fact the owners of the property. This is a certified receipt of a certified mail delivery to them. This is an aerial view of showing from 2018, the structure when back in 2018. And this is a current aerial view of the property with the additional structures. And a elevation view that I took when I was out there one of the 2 times I visited the site, showing the multiple accessory structures. And that one's off to the left. I couldn't get it into one picture. This is a page from our computer program showing the permits that were listed for the permit. We have a pool, the house, and one accessory structure. I believe that accessory structure is the initial barn. That is also part of the violation because they've added on to it from the size-wise, it appears. This is a copy of Chapter 40, Section 105.1, which is the county code that requires permits, which they are in violation of. My recommendation, based on the testimony and evidence presented in Case 2124 ESM, it is determined that the respondents are the record owners of the property located at 675 Coffee Trail, Geneva, in Seminole County, as determined by the property papers records, in possession to control the property, and in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Recommendation is that the special magistrate order the respondents to correct the violations on or before October 14th of 2021. In order to correct the violations, the respondents shall obtain the required permits for the cited violations. If the respondents do not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violations continue or is repeated after compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. And have you heard anything, and I'll speak with the respondent in a minute, but have you heard anything from the respondent as far as applying for permits?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Sir, do you wish to respond?
Yes, ma'am.
If you could just state your name for the record.
My name is Shane Thomas Ryder.
Thank you.
I've been down here, this is my fourth time now. The first two times were, I guess, I brought the wrong form. I spoke with Brittany after I got my first letter from Vicky. I brought down the wrong form stating that it was owner builder. She said that's not right. I said, okay. I went back, I came back, and I actually spoke to Mr. Tom. He sent me upstairs to zoning, met with the zoning ladies. They said everything's fine, your setbacks, everything's good. I said, okay, what do I still have to do? I'm not the brightest with the computer, but I can build things, you know? So I needed stuff for my tractor, I needed stuff for my hay, I needed stuff for chickens, you know, I needed to build my buildings. I built them without a permit. I got it. I'm trying to navigate your paperwork to get my permits, or if Mr. Tom's come out to my house twice, nobody's made contact with me, nobody's called me. I've called multiple times, I have Brittany, Alex, I think I spoke with Vicky before. I have permits here, you know what I mean? My restaurant's been shut down due to COVID, trying to work, trying to do everything else, and then jump through hoops to do this. I get it, I'm wrong. I have 2 buildings here, and I think I have all the paperwork right, but it's difficult to get any help here to get, hey, what do I need? Hey, no, this is wrong, you need to go do this. And every day, that's a day out of work. That's a day out of, you know, homeschooling. It's everything that everybody else here has, but it's not an excuse, but I'm trying.
When did you meet with zoning and confirm that you met setbacks and all of the zoning requirements?
Probably like 4 months ago.
Okay.
And that's when Mr. Tom gave me I guess, when I purchased the house, the barn had an expired permit on it. Nobody found that in the closing or anything like that. And I did add on to said barn, like he said, but I guess that's still an open permit, though. And the permit number on that is 153167.
Okay. Have you been right inside the doors to the building next to us? in
Yes,
that
ma'am.
permitting? And they weren't able to help you?
They told me it was plans, you needed plans and stuff and that's what I went and got. But by the time I've paid and got everything done, I mean, I got my letter to come here, so I'd rather
Okay.
see what,
But, okay, so
where I'm at.
coming, so I would just suggest that coming here doesn't mean you should stop with your permit application. You
no,
should-
I brought everything here. I brought my
Okay.
plans, tell me what
Yeah.
if somebody could tell me what I'm doing wrong,
Okay.
that would be great.
Would you like to respond?
I did meet with them initially, at least one time. I did send them up to zoning and zoning and engineering to make sure that the site plans were going to work before we started doing that. What he would need to submit is a site plan, 2 site plans showing the locations of each one of the structures, and then all the signed and sealed plans he'll need for each structure, and get them all submitted. And once they're submitted, then we would go back into a review.
Okay.
And, you know, other than the first time I met with him, I haven't seen any plans come through yet. I did review everything, check on the computers, nothing in the computer where he's tried to apply for other additional permits.
Okay. Well, it sounds like everybody agrees that there is a violation, but that you just need time to submit your permits. I mean, my suggestion is, and I don't know what you have there, but I'd walk right out this door into that door and
Right.
go ahead and submit if you have everything, or ask them what you're missing.
What else
I
I
don't have
might
a
need?
role in that part, but I know it's right here. So the county is recommending that I give you until October 14th, and I'll do that. There's no fines imposed. If you come into compliance by October 14th, you would need to just confirm that you're in compliance with staff, and if you are, you wouldn't be here on this case any longer. However, if you're not in compliance by that time, you'll be brought back for another hearing, at which time a fine might be imposed by the day.
Could do you need digital plans, digital stamp, or can I bring these? Because nobody had an answer for that either.
Ms. Scott, may I address a couple questions?
Yeah.
Okay. First off, you're going to need two sets of plans for each structure. Now, if you do signed and sealed, then you're going to have, you're going to be applying for it as an owner builder.
I don't know what you mean by signed and sealed. When I came out, you said everything could go on one permit.
An architect or an engineer has to sign and seal the plans.
Right
If they're
here.
paper, they have to be hard copy, imprinted, or stamped. If you do it electronically, that's where the digital signature comes in. You can make application and submit everything electronically, then you have to upload the electronic plans, signed and sealed by your design professional for each separate structure.
I have that right here.
Okay.
For
But those
two
are
of them.
paper plan. But those are paper.
That's what I'm saying. Now you're telling me paper
Yeah,
plans.
you
These
can
are
do, no, you
stamped
can do,
and
you can
ready
do
to go.
paper, and they have to be signed and sealed, either they'll be imprinted, or they can be stamped by the design professional for each structure. You need two for each structure. So you're going to need probably 8 or 9 sets of plans for your 4 or 5 structures.
So then I cannot put it on one permit like you told me I could? Or can I?
Each one typically has to have a separate permit, because they may have separate requirements for setbacks and the units. If they're all, I'd have to convey, the building official might allow you to put them on one permit.
Looks like he's
I'll
on
have to
his...
go
See what
back
I
and
mean,
talk
ma'am?
to
It's
him
all
and
over
find
the
out.
place. I don't,
By the way, this is Bob Pike, he's our building official.
How are you?
Do you want to swear him in?
Yeah.
I'm Bob Pike.
Can we swear him in?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to
Well, it looks like you're getting,
I do.
Bob used to be the fire marshal, I know him.
The reason why there's separate permits needed for those separate structures are multiple reasons. One of the main reasons is for the inspection purposes, because it becomes very difficult for the inspectors when you're putting multiple structures on one permit to keep track of those inspections, and they become a quagmire of confusion. So,
Totally understand.
Okay.
But, so then, how do we do it when the structure's already built? Like when you call in, if you...
We just keep it simple. First, you get your permit, and then we worry about the inspections. That's a whole separate ballgame after that.
Okay.
We have options to give you on how to deal with that.
Okay.
Okay?
so just to be clear, he would need to submit for a permit for each structure.
For each structure, that's correct.
I just wanted to be clear so that he knows what needs to be done by October 14th. Thank you.
So that all made sense to you?
Yes,
Yes.
did it
Okay.
make sense to you? Which is more important? Because I do this...
Enough, I guess, I think.
Okay, so what I understand is that you need a permit for each structure. And if you obtain a permit by October 14th, you will not be in violation with regard to this case.
Okay. So a permit is written plans for each building has its own set of plans stamped. And
That
I
is what-
turn them into Tom.
That is what staff testified to, but I would suggest you speak with them in permitting and just make sure that when you submit, they confirm that you have everything that's required.
Okay.
I mean, what I heard them testify to is that you need 2 sets of plans per structure. So if you have 4 structures, that is 8 sets of
sets of
plans.
plans, yep.
So it would be 4 permits, each of which would have 2 sets of plans. So 8 plans, 4 permits, assuming you had 4 structures that we're talking about.
Now, may I add a little bit more? You can do shared plans, which means one set of plans with each and every of your structures on the same plan, clearly delineated which one goes where, which plans go with each structure.
I'll keep it simple
Okay?
with one and one.
Okay, but it's might be simpler, just one set of plans for each structure. Shared plans can get to be confusing sometimes.
Okay.
So 1 permit for each building and 2 sets of plans for each building.
Right.
There you go.
They're going to tell me the same thing when I walk in that door.
They will. If they
Okay.
won't, they'll come get one of us plan reviewers, and we'll come talk to you.
Okay.
All right, I hope this has been
hasn't happened
helpful. I'm going to go ahead and issue staff's recommended order, but like I said, if you're in compliance by the 14th, there won't be fines. If you're not, we'll see you back most likely, and at that time, a fine of $50 a day may be imposed,
Okay.
depending on how that hearing goes. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next case is 2128 CESM. Respondents, Mr. Hatfield and Ms. Martinez. We can proceed when you're ready.
Good afternoon. For the record, I have submitted a copy of the PowerPoint presentation to the clerk and asked to be admitted to evidence.
Is accepted.
Thank you. This is case 2128 CESM, William E. Hatfield and Amy Martinez, 3304 Holiday Avenue, Seminole County, in Apopka, Seminole County, Florida. Violation charge, Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Description of the violations, installation of a fence and a dock without the required permits. Initial inspection was done 7/28 of 20 with notice the same day with a compliance date and extension on 3/1 of 21. Of course, the executive order changed things 3/17/20 to 3/2/21. Follow-up inspections 6/15/21 and 8/10/21, as well as 8/12/21. The results of the re-inspections are that the violations remain on the property. This is a copy of the property appraiser's website showing that the respondents are, in fact, the owners of the property. This is a copy of when I posted the property for the hearing. This is a picture taken originally by the previous inspector on 7/28 of the dock, and then the fence. And these are current pictures of the dock and fence that I took. Okay. And this is the current copy of our Naviline, our computer system, showing that they have applied for the fence only. So far, it's in plan review. I'm guessing it might probably still be in zoning. They have not applied for the permit for the dock as of yet.
Just to be clear on that one, so permit number 9706 is a fence?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
This is a copy of Chapter 40, which is the section they're in violation of. Chapter 40, 105.1 requires the permits. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 2128 CESM, it is determined that the respondents are the record owners of the property located at 3304 Holiday Avenue, Apopka, in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession and control of the property and in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. My recommendation is that a special magistrate order the respondents to correct the violations on or before October 14th, 2021. In order to correct the violation, they need to obtain the required permits for the cited violations. If the respondents do not comply with the order, a fine of $50 be imposed for each day the violations continue or is repeated after compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Does the respondent wish to respond?
We just wanted to clarify that we have submitted for permits today for both with sign and seal drawings. We have submitted, we're building a new construction on this property, and this fence may not be built by the time we are going to submit for the permits and then see what we will do or not for the fence, build it all, build portion. So that's the plan.
Okay. And you are Ms. Martinez?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so you submitted the permits today?
Yes.
Okay.
She was at the front counter when we came over. And may I
Okay.
clarify something? The permit only has to be issued for the dock and the fence for you to be in compliance, not them be constructed. Because once the permit's issued, you're no longer in violation, then you have the cycle of getting the work done.
Okay.
And the timeframes that go along with that.
And you explained that to me, so we understand.
Okay,
Okay.
great. Well,
Okay.
well, thank you for coming. I will issue staff's recommended order, which means you have until October 14th to get those permits and be in compliance. If you're in compliance by that time, there won't be any fines imposed. If you're not in compliance by that time, then you'll be most likely brought back for a second hearing, at which point we'll see if fines will be imposed. A fine of $50 a day could be imposed at that time. Okay?
Okay?
Thank you.
I want to make one statement.
Sure.
is we originally applied for the permit for the house itself. On the plan showed the fence and showed the dock. So we, in our stupidity, thought it was all included. So that's where we're coming from.
It's confusing. Thank you.
It happens.
Okay, next case is 2129 CESM, respondent Mr. Mowry.
Good afternoon, it's Tom Helly. For the record, I have submitted a copy of the PowerPoint presentation to the clerk, asked it be admitted into evidence.
It is accepted.
Thank you. This is case 2129 CESM, Jason Mowry, 104 South Crystal View, Sanford. Violation charge, Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Installed a pool, fence, and awning without the required permits. Initial inspection was done 7/22 of 20 with a notice on the same day. Compliance date and extension was compliance date was 3/21 of 20. And then we have the executive order timing, it kicked in. Follow-up site visits, 5/13/21, 6/15/21, 7/29/21, 8/3/21. Follow-up inspection via computer was 6/15/21, 7/29/21, 8/3/21, and 8/12/21, showing the results showing that the violations remain on the property. This is a copy of the property appraiser's website page showing that the respondent is in fact the property owner. This is a copy of the posting when I posted the property for this hearing. This is a picture of the fence that was taken by the previous inspector on 7/21/20. Another portion, you can also see the pool in the background and the awning. And this is a picture of the front awning as well. We got an aerial picture here shown from the property appraiser's office that shows in January of 2019 that there was not a pool, swimming pool on the property. Next slide shows a current with the pool there. Okay. This is our property appraiser, our Chapter 40 nav line showing that there's no permits for the awnings or the pool.
And what is that 2021 permit for?
2021 permit, that's an electrical permit.
Okay, thank you.
This is Chapter 40, Section 105.1, which is what he's in violation of. Based on testimony and evidence presented in case number 2129 CESM, it's determined that the respondent is the record owner of the property located at 104 South Crystal View, Sanford in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession and control of the property, and in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. I further recommend that the magistrate order the respondent to correct the violations on or before October 14th, 2021. In order to correct the violation, the respondent shall obtain the required permits for the cited violations. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 a day will be imposed for each day the violations continue or is repeated after compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Does the respondent wish to respond?
I just had a couple questions.
Sure, could you just, I'm sorry, state your name?
Jason Mowry.
Thank you.
For starters, the address is 104 Crystal View South. It's not South Crystal View, just for the record.
Okay.
And then additionally, so I understand, I built the pool. I did it myself. I overbuilt it. And I was contacted in order to get the permits, and with COVID, and I just had a new baby, so I just juggling everything. Not an excuse, but I intend to get the permits, and not just that, but additionally to that, the fence. There was a bit of a discrepancy between myself and my neighbor. That fence actually does not belong to me. It was constructed, and it was constructed on what we agreed was a property line. So when it was constructed, yes, it did belong to me, but then he took over ownership of it when it was on his property, but then he decided to reconstruct it in its correct location. So that fence had actually been taken down and removed as to comply. But then my neighbor, in order to sell his house, actually put the fence back up. And I do have documentation of that.
But whose property is the fence on now?
It's on the property line, so technically, I believe it's about 4 inches onto to my property. So, like I said, I'm not sure exactly how that works, but like I said, I took the fence down because it was a violation, and then it was reconstructed. So, and it wasn't constructed by me.
Okay.
I woke up one Saturday morning to a slab being cut and a bunch of construction going on, and I was thinking, well, what's this about? And I go outside, and there, the fence was being constructed because the new property owner, within the pending of their house, sale, wanted the fence back up.
Okay.
And then the awning on the front. Yeah, so I'm not sure what I need for that. I'll apply for the permits. I didn't think I needed a permit just to build an overhang over my front porch. So, but like I said, I will get the permits for them. I have no problem with that at all. And everything I did, I did it myself, and I did it in my opinion, would be way above code. So I think it shouldn't be an issue getting the permits. It's just, I just need to navigate those avenues and be able to obtain them.
Okay. Do you wish to respond?
If I may, before we continue, I've asked Officer Bravaro to come up because he was involved with the next door neighbor and a complaint on the fence to maybe shed some light on the fence from his perspective.
Yep.
And then I have some other comments on that.
Thank you. Do we need to swear him in? No. Okay.
For the record, Officer Bravaro, Seven County Sheriff's Office Code Enforcement. So on 7/21/20 at 8:53 hours, we responded out to 106 Crystal View South in regards to a property line dispute. The current owner, is it still Jason, or has that been sold? Jason still on the property at 104?
I'm Jason. I own 104.
The neighbor, is it still the same neighbor?
No,
They
that
sold
was
it.
Officer Shafiq Nasuli.
Right.
He was my next door neighbor. So it was
Right.
actually, he's at Sanford Police Department, he's a Sanford police officer.
So I guess the concern and why we responded out is because the prior owner had concerns with the fence and its state, and had stated that it was on the property line, it was in a state of disrepair, and wanted it repaired before he went with the sale of his house. So when we went out there, we were escorted back by the current property owner. We took the digital images, and he had stated that the fence in the front half was on the property line, and as it went back, it went into the property. So I did take all those images that you see out there so they accurately depict the violations on the dates in which they were taken. Of course, we forwarded all this information over to the building department to investigate. We were able to observe the pool, the new construction on the overhang, and then the fence issue also. So we didn't take any corrective action on that.
Okay, so do you know if it was determined whether the property is on our respondent's property now or the other property, or is that unclear?
No, ma'am. Like I said, the prior owner had stated that some of the fence was on his property, some of the fence was shared with the neighbor, but we were never able to confirm that. We forwarded it to the building division because it was a newly installed fence without a permit. If it had been a 10-year-old fence that was in a state of disrepair, we would have taken over. Because it was semi-newly installed, a permit was required. So that's when we sent it over.
Thank you.
With regards to the fence, he would either need to have a survey done showing where the fence actually resides, so we can determine that. And as Officer Bravaro was saying, if it may be part of it may be a shared fence, you might be able to find your corner pins and pull a string line, and we'll have an inspector come out and take a look and see if they can to determine where the fence actually is, whether it's yours or your neighbor's, or if it's a shared fence.
That's what I installed the fence myself originally, and that's what I did, is I pulled a string line from my pin to the pin at the street. And so, like I said, when I installed it, my neighbor at the time was right there and had agreed upon it. I said, "Are you good with this?" And he said, "Yeah, looking at the survey, looks good. Okay, all right, so we're going to go ahead and install it." And so I went ahead and installed it. I stayed on my string line. And at the end of it, actually, in exchange for, basically, we had an agreement after the fact that he had said, okay, well, I'm looking at my survey again, and it looks like, when he was going to sell his house, he said, well, now, the fence is, 3 feet onto my property at in such and such location. And I said, okay, well, I can move it if you want. And he said, no, that's, we'll iron that out. And I said, well, how will we iron it out? He said, well, I'll tell you what, you're in the concrete business. Why don't you just go ahead and, in exchange for you not having to move the fence and deconstruct it, you just put a little circle drive in for me. And I said, okay, that's fine, we can do that. So there's actually a, notarized document that said, I was allowed to do that in exchange for putting him in a circle driveway into his house.
And now you have new neighbors.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're actually, those new neighbors are, we're in the process, they actually want to sell me that land. So we are obtaining surveys. I have emails, to actually divide the land and.
So then the fence would then be up totally on your property?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's going to need a permit regardless. What I was going to suggest was you may have, if it's on both properties, it may be a shared fence, but if you are going to acquire that portion that the fence is on, then you're still going to need a permit for the fence.
Right.
But you can pull it as owner builder once you own that portion of the property. If not, I don't know if you could do, him and her, your next door neighbors and yourself, do a shared, and you can't do a shared permit, but you have shared ownership. So that would be, probably have to have a fence contractor be able to do that, or a
Okay.
contractor,
Yeah. I mean,
other than an owner builder,
right.
because of the legalities of it.
Yeah, I would probably just do owner builder, and just not do shared fence.
Well, as long as it's totally on your property, then you can do that. You can
Right.
pull it as owner builder and build it yourself and go through the process.
Okay. So as the fence is right now, it technically belongs to my neighbor because, like I said, I didn't reconstruct it. So they reconstructed it. I took it down because it was in violation. They reconstructed it, putting it back in violation. So that's out of my hands.
So
Well,
at this point, if it's on your property, no matter who constructed it, you're going to be responsible for getting the
And
permit.
I understand that.
I just want to be clear
Yeah,
that.
I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah.
I just, for the record, I didn't reconstruct it,
Understood.
after it was
Right.
taken down. I mean, who in the right mind would do that? And then additionally, the pool, I don't know how to navigate that, so,
First thing you have to do is get a permit.
right,
So you're going to have your signed seal drawings from the engineer who designed the pool,
okay,
and a pool plan, submit for an owner builder pool plan for the pool. Once it gets reviewed, if it meets all the code requirements at that point in time, then the fun begins, pardon my expression, but it's not going to be fun. Then you're going to have to provide specific engineering showing how the pool meets all the requirements of the plans. Because now that it's already shot and done, there's no way we can do it. You're talking about the bonding of the steel, the installation of the gunite, everything involved, the sizing of the steel, the placement of the steel, everything to make sure that it meets code,
yeah,
and the engineering as well.
Okay.
It's already done, so it's going to be a difficult situation, but
So if I'm understanding correctly, with the documentation that I have throughout building the pool, providing that with measurements that I have, as well as engineered drawings, if I couple everything together and submit it, and possibly just get a GPR done, to, detect where the actual rebar is, because it's 12 inches on center each way. I mean, it's well overbuilt. It's not even gunite. It's actually, I mean, it's 8-inch thick block, balls, filled cells with a lino block, through the everything, every piece of metal in that entire pool is touching itself. So if a hurricane comes, everybody come on over. We'll throw a top on it. It's and it's got a 12-inch slab on the bottom of it. So as far as strength and it's substantial building, it's very substantial. I'll get the engineering to
I was
match
going to
that.
say, at this point, I mean, start with the engineering, get it submitted, and then we can, and all the other documentation you want to submit, and we'll look at it. I mean, worst comes to worst, you may have to do additional information or additional engineering, or without seeing what's there, it's hard to say.
Right, but based on what I just said, I mean, it would fall into, you know,
I mean, you can submit it all, we'll look at it.
Right.
And then we'll make a determination if further information is required at that point in time. It's hard to say, knowing how a pool's put together. It's difficult to say right now if yours is put together to meet the code.
yeah, it's my word, yeah, exactly.
Sure,
No,
I understand.
Understand. No,
Yes, sir.
okay, so that works. And then, so the front awning, like, what do I do for that? Just
Yes.
permit and?
Yes.
Just,
You'll need, what you're going to need, either signed and sealed plans, either an architect or an engineer, because the structural aspects, again, you've got some type of foundation that the poles are sitting on. Don't know if it's 4 inches of concrete or if it's a thickened edge or what's there, or a pad. And then you got block up, what, 4 or 5 courses, and then the posts going up.
yeah, there is.
So you're going to have some
three and a half feet of.
design professionals there as well.
Yeah. I need design professionals for an awning?
Yes, sir. Either an architect or an engineer to show us how it's, because it's all done, so we have no way of, it's either that or we do, well, we wouldn't do it, require you to do destructive testing. We'll look at, even if we had you do destructive testing, it gets opened up by the design professional and it doesn't work, you're still going to have to fix it.
Right.
So they may be able to take x-rays or some type of all these different machines they have now to see what's actually there and make a determination based on that with their signature and seal on it. And then we would look at that to determine if it, in our opinion, meets the minimum code requirements, and if not, then we would proceed from there.
Okay, so basically, if I have a footing underneath it, you know, if it's an 18-inch by 18-inch footer, then I shouldn't have any issues, like, and
Well, it depends.
Is it GPR?
Well, it depends on 18 by 18, depending upon how thick it is, what the soil is underneath it, any
Right,
reinforcing.
compaction.
And then you're still going to have a design drawing from showing how that's going to work to meet the requirements, either by an architect or an engineer, minimum of a design drawing, because it's an addition with structural aspects. What's underneath the 2 posts and what's actually holding it up may be a contention, I shouldn't say contention, a concern during plan review. Once we see it, we'll look at it and we'll go from there. And then you're still going to have, because it's already done, you're going to have to prove to the inspectors that once the permit's issued, what's on the plans is actually in the ground. So you're still going to have some type of engineering or something from a design professional or x-raying, or x-raying type would be good, but some type of device that tells us what's actually there, signed and sealed by an architect or an engineer. And in some cases, architects may not want to mess with it because of the structural integrity of it. They may refer you to an engineer. That's up to the design professional. But a design professional, architect or engineer can do residential
Okay,
as far as structural aspects.
all right,
There's just, right now, there's too many unknowns to make an informed decision.
right, okay. All right. I mean, you guys are in construction, I mean, you know construction, obviously. It's going to be hard for me to be able to obtain engineering and architectural anything within a month. It's
It's 60 days. Is that
2
enough time?
months.
I mean,
Yeah.
It may be, but everybody that I've even talked to, even just to get concrete right now, you're 2 or 3 weeks out. So,
Well, how long do you think you need?
I mean, realistically, I would, 6 months probably.
I don't know, I don't know, is that acceptable to the county?
I mean,
It's tough to, I mean.
I would not be opposed to 3 months, providing he provides stuff, and then if...
We'll come back.
And then we can come back, because and he's right, the industry is going crazy right now. It's just, everybody's just super busy, and so...
Understood. So what we'll do is I'll issue staff's recommended order, except instead of October 14th, it'll be 90 days out, which is November, what is it, 14th. So we'll give you until November 14th to come into compliance. If, during that time, be able to show that you're working on it, and that way, if it's not if you don't have everything you need by that time, you'll be able to show staff that you have a reason to ask for another extension.
Okay.
But as of now, the order is to come into compliance by November 14th, or if not, a fine of $50 a day may be imposed at that time.
Ms. Kopp, before we finish, can I offer one more? There's always I know you're not going to like hear this, but there's always the option of pulling a demolition permit and removing it.
I missed that.
There's
A
always the
demolition
option of
permit.
pulling a demolition permit and removing it, and if you still want to keep it, then put it back, start from scratch. There's always that option too, so.
And on
and-
all of this?
Yeah, you can remove everything with
Okay.
a demolition permit. Each one would have its own permit, including the pool, and then you start from scratch if you want to go that way. But then you're still looking at design professionals, because once you start taking stuff, particularly the pool, having the big hole in the ground,
Right.
to determine whether or not it's still going to be structurally sound to put the pool back in. So you're going to have design professionals in you either way you go.
Either way,
But
yeah.
I just wanted to throw that option out there as well,
Yeah, I mean, I think that would probably be a lengthier process than actually.
potentially.
Yeah,
But
so-
still, wanted to make sure you knew that option was available.
I do
So,
appreciate that.
Sure.
All right.
Thank you.
So good?
Yes,
All right,
unless
thank
you have anything else to add.
No, I think that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next case is case number 2133 CESM, respondent Mr. Siberio.
How are you?
Hello. Ready?
Yes?
All right.
This is case 2133 CESM. For the record, I have submitted a copy of the PowerPoint to the clerk and asked that it be admitted to evidence.
It is accepted.
Thank you. This is case 2133 CESM, Michael Salverio, 155 Old Mims Road, Geneva. Violation charge, Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1, construction without the required permits of a shed with electric. Initial inspection was done 1/6/2020, and with the respondent being noticed on that time with compliance dates and extension, various dates, with the executive order also in the midst of it, with the follow-up inspections on 6/14/21 and 8/11/21, site visits and computer reviewing the computer aspect as well for permits. The results of the inspection show that their violation remains on the property. This is a copy of the property appraiser's website showing that the respondent is in fact the owner. This is also a copy of the certified return receipt for one of the letters that was sent to him. We have an unpermitted shed. Basically, he now has a permit for his house, which is, I believe, going to be built in front of this structure. But at the point in time, he was storing stuff in it and residing in it during that time. And we went back to, our records go back to 1984, and there's no record for that structure being there, being constructed. So I think just another picture to the left of it. This is a follow-up picture I took on 8/5, showing it's still there. And same thing on 8/11. Keep going. This is a copy of our printout showing that this is the permit for his house. There's no permit there other than the house on that property since 1984 that we can find. This is a copy of Chapter 40, Appendix A, which is the violation, what he's in violation of, 105.1. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 2133, CESM, it is determined that the respondent is the record owner of the property located at 155 Old Mims Road, Geneva, in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession or control of the property, and in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Further, recommend that the special magistrate order the respondent to correct the violations on or before October 14th of 2021. In order to correct the violation, the respondent shall obtain the required permits for the cited violations. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violations continue or is repeated after compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Sir, would you like to respond?
Yes, hey, Magistrate.
And if you
This
could,
is-
please state your name for the
Yeah,
record.
my name is Michael Siberio.
Thank you.
Yes, This property, 8 years ago, I rented this property with an option to buy. So that shed, in the time I bought it, I rented it, it was for the purpose of farming. The owner told me that was, Mr. Hercules told me that it was a farm, okay? So I built that shed with the horse barns, the goat sheds, the chicken coop. I built everything at that time. This is the only violation they give me, but I have a horse barn that I built there. I have 5 stalls in the back. And I built that 8 years ago. Okay? This property came into my name. First, they gave him a citation for it. And I came here, and Vicki Holloway was present here, and she said the case over here with the magistrate was suspended because of the COVID. Okay? After that, I came back, after I put the property in my name on the May 8th of 2020. I got all the paperwork here. I put the property on my name because I finished paying him, and I got divorced, and, so I had the property in my name now. I gave my ex-wife the house, so she wanted to take the property too. But, that was the only thing I had. So the little thing I had, I put all my furniture and everything, the little stuff I had, in that shed. So I run a wire from the pole all the way to the shed so I could have electricity, because not all my stuff is going to go bad with mold. Okay, that was the only reason. And I spent most of my time there, in the property, cleaning and everything. After that, I came here, so when they send the next hearing, to send it in my name, so I could be aware that I have to come here. In the front over here, they told me that was taken away, the violation. It was a mistake probably, because then Vicki Holloway then sent me a letter after that saying, it was a courtesy letter. Send me a courtesy letter that the violation, what are you gonna do with that? I don't know, I have the courtesy letter with me, but she sent me a courtesy letter saying that, what you're gonna do. And like I explained to them, I didn't violate it because it was a farming at that time. And I think, let me see. I got over here a letter that a friend of mine gave me, section 553.73, 7C1. Florida statute exempts non-residential farm building located on the farm from the Florida Building Code and any county municipal building code, making building permits unnecessary for such building. Okay? How you call it? And that was the reason, I said to I spoke with the gentleman here yesterday. What's your name? I'm sorry. Tom. And I told him, I said, listen, I'm going to build a house. I got my blueprints for a shed, a shed. I got certified blueprints from my engineering. And, I don't think I violated no things here. If the farming status changed after it was on my name, I didn't have no notice of that.
What was the statute you referenced, 553?
Let me see. You on the copy of it?
If you just tell me the number.
It's section 553.73, and then I have a 7C1.
Okay, thank you. And so your blueprints are for the residence or the shed?
I have a blueprint that I already have a permit for the house.
For the house.
And now I have one that I'm going to submit. I couldn't submit it at the same time because they say that I have to submit it for the house first, and then for the shed. Once I get the approved for the house, then I could get the shed. So I haven't submitted yet. I just got the permit last week.
I understand.
Okay, so now I'm going to submit for this. Now, I'm a disabled person, I'm 61, I'm 61. And I'm starting my life all over again, after 5 years, being in the depression move, and thank God I just got married again, and I have a good partner that's taking care of me. But, all of this is going to be done. I know I didn't violate it because at that time, unless I'm wrong, okay, I didn't commit no violation. And I'm going to knock that thing down anyway.
That
I
is
am
an
gonna knock
option.
it, huh?
That is an option. You can get a demolition permit and take
I
it
want to
down.
knock it down, but I mean, I want to have a place to put all my stuff, okay? And how you call it, if I don't know how long it's going to take me to build a house, a year? You know, in the shed? To move my stuff?
Okay, let me ask a question. I can come back to you in just a second. Let me ask a question to the county. He has to get the residential permit first, I assume, because the shed is an ancillary use or something that is
Yes, ma'am.
subordinate
It
to
would
the
be,
house.
it would be utility permit for the shed,
Okay,
the accessory structure.
so can he not get the permit for the shed until the house is permitted or built?
Well, the house is already permitted, he just hasn't started building it yet. He doesn't have, he doesn't have the main structure there for the accessory structure, which is what the shed would be. So he can't, I mean,
I get it, he can't submit he
Right.
can't even submit for a permit. But what has to
But-
happen with the residential structure for him to be able to submit for a permit? Does it have to be construction commenced? Or does it have to be complete, or what? What? I'm asking because I'm trying to figure out what's a reasonable time frame for him to be able to come into compliance.
the house would have to be completed and CO'd for it to be a primary structure, for the shed to be an accessory structure too.
So really, he can't get a permit for the shed within 60 days. He would
No.
need to demolish it. I mean, realistically.
Realistic.
Unless he builds his house in 60 days, he can't.
But, Your
Right.
Honor, I mean,
Okay.
my
I just want to understand.
Sure. May I address another thing
Yes,
before we?
yes.
Okay.
We're going to let you speak, sir. We're not
The
cutting
statute-
you off.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
The statute he's talking about, 553, is a working farm statute, which exempts ag buildings on a working farm. He's not a working farm.
Understood.
He may have animals, but he's not actively raising and selling, and it's not actually a working farm, so that statute wouldn't classify him anyway. He may be an agriculturally zoned, I don't know what the zoning is on it, and it might be an agricultural type building, but it doesn't exempt him from permits because he's not a working farm.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, at that time, when it was built, 8 years ago, it was.
Well,
And the zoning there is not R5, it's A5, R5.
So
Because I got some-
you're
I-
saying that when the shed was constructed, the property was used as a working farm, and so it fell under the statutory
correct.
exemption? And it
That
did
was
not-
8 years ago.
Okay.
And now it's that, somebody complained or something, because it's like, my barns were, they're not good. I'm going to knock everything down anyway.
Understood.
Because once I live there, I'm going to knock everything down. But the parcel, I went up to planning, and the parcel that we're talking about is A5, R5. Is agriculture and residential.
No.
And it's grandfather to at that time.
Okay.
Because I got the letter from upstairs that they gave me.
Can I see that letter?
Yeah.
If you need someone to come get it, okay.
There's not more pages, I just brought the front page that says what kind of...
You can have a minute to look at it if you want. Thank you. And I'll give you a chance to respond to this as well. Okay, so just for the record, this letter dated November 25th, 2013, looks like it's a letter from Planning and Development that states the future land use and zoning of the property.
right.
So it's like a zoning verification.
Exactly, gives them the zoning classification for it. Property appraiser's website page shows the property as vacant.
Okay, understood. So here's a question for staff. If, I'm not saying it was a working farm, or not, I don't know, but if it was a working farm back when it was constructed? And would it be exempt from permitting requirements, and would that continue? I mean, once you have something that is allowed to be built without a permit, if it's no longer a farm, do you have to go back and get permits, or are you grandfathered? And if you don't know, I mean, we can,
I don't know for sure. My humble opinion,
Yeah.
for what it's worth, would be probably not, because he would then, depending upon it being used as a working farm prior to the exemption coming into play, and no longer being used as a working farm, I don't know that it would be. We'd have to have the county attorney give us an opinion on that, but my humble opinion is probably not. The property appraiser shows it as vacant property, so the property appraiser may not even known about the shed that was built there.
okay. Are you living in the shed?
I stay most of the time. Sometimes I stayed in the shed, yes.
And the
I have no
reason,
place to go. You know, the only money I have.
is your new wife staying in the shed with you?
Yes. She goes and come back from, she's from Ecuador, she goes and travel back and forth. Can I have that letter back?
Yes,
I was
you can
gonna
have the
show you
letter back.
something else.
You can have the letter back.
I think I have something.
And just for the record, the letter states that it's rural 5, future land use, and A5 zoning.
Yeah, I got another letter there. This was when they put the electricity there, okay?
I think we need you at the microphone, because it won't be recorded if you tell us. Sorry,
That
sir.
letter is, when they put the electricity there, it was marked, it was a meter there, an old meter there. Okay, there was a house there before too, okay? Because I got a well there. They said there's no permit for it. But it was built in 1939, that well, okay? Because there was the first school of Geneva was in that piece of lot there, okay? And then there was a school house, the house for the school teacher, built there too. So there was a property there, okay? There was a meter there because there was a other lady living in that property. That's why that property was 155 Old Mims Road, because the electric company told me that, not here. And now I got the address 155 Old Mims Road.
Thank you.
So when the power company installed the power was because it was for farming. If they changed the status after it came into my name, that's a different story, you know? But I didn't violate then the code.
So,
And I'm willing to knock it down. I'm willing to knock it down, but give me a break until and everybody's been decent. I'm not, you know, I don't complain. Vicky Holloway, I think I spoke with you, right? A while ago too, you know, and everybody's been decent with me. I'm not complaining about nothing. But, you know, I was talking to somebody saying, you know, so you didn't violate, no violation. But I'm gonna knock everything down. My land, the whole thing I'm gonna knock down. But give me an opportunity to finish my house or my other shed that I'm gonna submit it, because yes, I can build a shed. I'm sorry, I went next door. Now that I had the permit, I could build a shed without finishing the house.
I think the concern is, it is not safe to live in an unpermitted structure for you. I mean, we don't know if that can withstand a storm.
Well, it did, what's the name? It was built when the big storm came here.
Understood.
It went through the storm, you know what I mean? And it was a big storm that we had at that time.
Well,
So
this is why I'm just, and maybe it was constructed rightly without a permit. I don't know. I'm not making that determination right now. I'm just telling you that this is the reason that the county requires permits.
Yeah.
But do you have anything else that you want to add? This looks like the FPL has signed off on the electrical.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that correct? I mean, from your view?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So FPL is signing off saying that this is an agricultural property under Section 193-461 Florida statutes, and that it's appropriately getting electric, from what I understand, unless the county tells me differently.
So I just want your ministry to, you know, just give me, I think, 6 months or a little bit more until I finish.
Okay, let me see if the county finds that acceptable or not, sir.
Basically, that letter was a form they filled out for us that they attached
Oh, for the,
power
okay.
to it.
So does that mean that the electrical is okay code-wise, or is it just saying we don't know what
They
that
hooked up
means?
the service to it, that's all we
That's what we know. So we don't know if it meets county codes?
No, ma'am.
Or building codes?
No, or electrical code, no.
Okay, okay. Is the county willing or not willing to give him 6 months for compliance? That's his request. I just need to know if that's acceptable or not.
I mean, not if he's got, he can't live in it, and it's an unpermitted, I mean, I don't know, that's 6 months. I know but see, he's got all this stuff to put in there. I mean, he could buy or rent one of the shipping container, one of the storage type units for his stuff while he's going through the process of building the home. I mean, it can't live, it's not a livable structure.
Understood.
I mean, it doesn't meet the minimum code requirements for a livable structure, and unfortunately, it may have been built, and it looks like it's an old structure, so it could have been built way back, but it was built without a permit.
The struggle for me is not anything of the fault of staff. It is,
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know whether the statute that exempted permits applied at the time that structure was built, and if it did apply, I don't know if that exemption still applies now, because I certainly don't want to find him in violation for a structure without a permit if it's legally without a permit under
Right.
state law.
And you're talking about 553.
I am talking about 553.
The ag exemption statute.
Yeah, so what I'm
fine.
inclined to do right now is to just not rule on and research this and then
Continue it?
issue, well, not even continue it, I will just issue an order after I have time to read through the statute and
I got
see
you.
if I can figure out
Okay.
that issue.
Okay.
So there is no ruling as of now. I'm going to research the information you've provided, and an order will be mailed to you.
Okay.
Okay?
That'll be fine. And I just want to let you know that the other shed, matter of fact, tomorrow I'm going to come with my paperwork to apply for the new shed. And because of the wood was so high, my engineer did it with cement blocks, so it's going to be, and I have the information next door that they told me I could build the shed even without finishing the house.
And the other option for staff is if you wanted an opinion from the county attorney, I could wait on that and have you submit that to me as well. I just don't want to find somebody in violation if there's an ag exemption, and I don't know if it applies or not.
Right.
Because I'm just hearing about it now at the hearing. So that's what we'll do. I will mail you an order once I decide, but I agree with staff that you shouldn't be living there for your own safety, so if there was something you could do as far as finding storage, it sounds like that's recommended in the meantime, for what that's
I don't
worth.
have no place to go. I'm going to be homeless, to sleep in my car in my property? I mean, they told me to put an RV there, but why I'm going to buy an RV for $10,000 when I could put it into my house? The banks don't give you no money. We just own a bill. Everything is to screw, part of my friends, the property owners in this place, because the
No,
banks don't want to give you no money.
That's not the case,
No,
sir.
I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about, the banks don't want to give you no money to build a house, so I have to build it by 10,000 here, 10,000 there, 15,000 here. That's how I'm building it, It's not that I have all the money to build it because the bank don't give you no money unless unless you have a contractor that's going to charge you a double of what the property costs you. And I don't have the money to pay double a contractor.
I understand.
It's a losing battle.
I understand. So I will look into the issue with, whether a permit was required at the time it was constructed. Do you have any evidence of when it was constructed?
It was constructed 8 years ago.
Do you have any evidence of it?
Not really.
Anything? Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for coming, and I will mail you an order through the clerk. I have not decided as of this time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. God bless.
You too. Okay, the next case is 2134 CESM, Respondent Bahia Temple Holding Corp. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tom Helly. For the record, I have submitted a copy of the presentation to the clerk and asked to be admitted into evidence, the PowerPoint.
That is accepted. Thank you.
Thank you. This is case 2134, CESM, Bahia Temple Holding Corp. Incorporated, 3101 East State Road 436. Violation charge, Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Enclosed an outdoor patio that was open and installed an outdoor kitchen without the required permits. Case summary, the initial inspection was done August 4th of 20 with a notice at that time. Another compliance date and extension on 3/2 of 21. Then the executive order slowed things down a bit, and then we have follow-up site inspections, and some done by me, some done by others, showing that the violations remain on the property. This is a copy of the property appraiser's website showing the ownership is the Bahia Temple Holding Company Corporation, Inc. This is a copy of the return receipt, certified mail sent to them. This is a copy from the exterior in the parking lot of the structure that was enclosed and turned into an area. And this is an interior picture. Another one. Another one. This is the record. They do have permits in the system. It's they've been going through. There's 1, 2, 3 permits, because they got fire protection permits as well as the building permits. They have been gone through review. They're not compliant yet. They have been working diligently to try to come into compliance. I believe they have, and I don't know how many of they have applied for and had the after-hours inspections done, after-hours plan review done on a certain of the disciplines, trying to come into compliance. Hit the next screen, please. This is a copy of the permit application. This is a copy of Chapter 40, which is what they're in violation of, not having the permits. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 2134, CESM, it's determined that the respondents are the record owners of the property located at 3101 East State Road 436, Apopka, in Seminole County as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession or control of the property, and in violation of the Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Further recommend that the magistrate order the respondents to correct the violations on or before October 14, 2021. In order to correct the violation, respondents shall obtain the required permits for the cited violations. If the respondents do not comply, an order of $50 a day be imposed for each day the violations continue or are repeated after compliance. The respondents must contact the inspector to verify compliance. I did take a quick look at the permit record a little bit this afternoon, and that, like I said, they've done at least one after-hours plan review. I don't know if the other disciplines had, but they're still in. They have additional comments from the building side, and they're waiting on the subcontract side, electrical, plumbing, mechanical, to give either comments or approval based on the latest resubmission.
Okay. If this permit was issued, would they be in compliance?
If this, yes.
Okay,
Because
so it has everything.
Because the violation is they did it without a permit.
Okay.
Once they have a permit, they're in compliance, but they still got to get all the inspections before they get allowance to be able to use it. They would be in compliance as far as the code, the violation is concerned. Because the
Okay.
violation is unpermitted construction.
Thank you.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Did you wish to respond?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Steve Brick. I'm the president currently, and to my left is our the administrator for the holding corporation. Just a little background, his position is static, mine changes every year. The president rolls over. This is something that I inherited, and we have been working diligently. When we applied, it took us from like September of last year until Tom, I want to say it was March or April.
Pretty close, yeah. But
Before we got the corrections back to even do anything. So, I think maybe it was even June. Regardless, we did the work without a permit. It kind of, once we started improving it, it took on a life of its own. That's neither here nor there. We do need to get this. However, we have been constantly working on this. We've been waiting on the plan reviewers to get this stuff back. He wants us to do this in 60 days. We're even paying for expedited plan reviews. You know, we want it done just as much as the county wants it done. The only reason I'm here, I'm not here to argue, it needs to be done. But we've already proven that getting through plan reviews in 60 days is impossible. And although I'm hopeful paying the expedited plan reviews, I don't want a $50 a day fine running if, you know, and we're paying extra to get it done sooner. So
Do you have an idea of how much longer you need?
that's up to them. We're paying for expedited plan reviews. Whatever they say we need to do, we're doing it, and we're even paying to get it
Oh,
done.
you're paying, I'm sorry, the county for expedited plan review?
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't go that far.
We're paying to get to the top of the stack.
Well, let's ask them then how long expedited plan review takes.
How long does expedited plan review take?
In a case
Well,
like this.
They pay a certain amount for the minimum, depending upon what day of the week it is, either 2 hours or 4 hours per discipline.
Okay.
And then they are guaranteed, because the plan reviewers do it after working hours. And that 2 hours or 4 hours, however big a one they do, is dedicated to their project and their project only.
Understood.
Nothing else. And that's per discipline. So they've got building,
That's what you were
plumbing,
explaining
electrical,
before.
mechanical, yes, ma'am. Fire as well. And the after hours, like I said, as he said, they've been doing some, and I think fire's participated in that too, I think, in after hours.
Yes,
But,
sir.
Is it reasonable to think that could be done in 60 days?
I mean, I looked at it briefly before
Behind you,
today,
he's
and
nodding yes.
building has it turned down. Fire and mechanical have not re-reviewed it yet. They're still
Building has
getting
it turned
into
down as in there's a problem, or that is in the
As in,
review?
there's a problem, yes. There is comments. I would like to think that I received comments, but they may not have yet. They may wait till the other two get done.
Gotcha.
And get them all at once.
So now, so you've taken a second bite at the apple. We've corrected the first comments and sent plans back, paid for expedited review. Now they've been turned down again?
By one of the reviewers so far, yes.
I don't know that
And you
he
should-
can,
you should be-
Ma'am,
You should be getting comments. I mean, you can call the reviewer himself and find out what the comments are and how, I mean, like you said, it's a complicated little project.
And it
because
doesn't
it's
mean
assembly,
it-
occupancy.
But why
We don't know.
should you get two bites at the
we
apple?
don't know that they are, though. It could have been that whatever
No,
was
okay.
commented first wasn't sufficiently addressed. I don't know. I haven't seen them,
Okay.
Yeah.
Building,
If I can speak.
okay.
The process is that when you submit for a permit, it gets reviewed by all the plan reviewers that are required to look at it. If they look at it and it doesn't meet the code requirements, then they will issue comments on that, okay? And then the task gets sent back to the contractor to respond back to those, and the design professional, in turn, does that response back. So from understanding is it was submitted back, and then there's, maybe the comments weren't satisfied, or if he addressed something that caused another comment to come out. But I'm understanding that building has comments again. Maybe he didn't clarify or respond incomplete to those code comments, which happens quite a bit. So we do have the ability for your design professional to call our plan reviewers to discuss it. We will also give you the ability to have a pre-resubmittal meeting to go over that with your design professional to help you. So we have plenty of avenues to do that. I'm understanding now that we have, mechanical and plumbing still to review?
and fire.
And fire, so you still have 3 reviewers.
At least two.
We're currently pretty heavy because of the record number of permitting and plans we have, but I would feel probably 60 days we could get that completed, at least the task sent back to the design professional to respond back, and should be able to come back with that in time, in my estimation. But if you're paying for an expedited plan review, that's something we offer that, and that is something that gets done rather quickly, so.
But each time, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So each time we pay for expedited plan reviews, They review the plans. We submit what, we address them like we think they should be addressed.
Right.
Now we have to pay another expedited plan review fee to
Each
have them
time-
re-review?
Correct. Each time that you're asking us to do a review, if you had resubmitted and it didn't meet code, and he generated another comment, then that's back on the design professional to respond back to that comment. So that's why I'm saying, you can talk to our plan reviewers by phone, your design professional can, he can also look at his comments online while the others are waiting, and that's another beauty of our electronic system is you can see those comments. He can go ahead and start working on those in response to those while he's waiting for the other reviewers to complete their review. So, but an expedited review is something that you choose to do. It's a fee involved, but it helps it go a lot faster, seeing how we are so busy. But we'll do whatever we can to help. Okay?
Last question for staff is, are you saying that it could take 60 days to get your comments back? Because they still need to...
Well, there's more people involved here besides
Yeah.
us.
No, I
because-
understand. I'm just
because
trying
the
to decide
task,
if I
once it
should do
goes
a
back,
90-day.
We can't do anything. We're waiting on them to respond back. So
Yeah.
if 60
Yeah.
days is plenty enough time for us to do the reviews and to get the task sent back to them. It's up to them on how quickly they are to submit back to us to get it reviewed.
Understood.
And I can ask Tom to keep an eye on it. If he sees it comes back, we can do our best to try to look at it as soon as possible, because we do take the first 2 hours of each day to do our re-reviews to keep permits moving in and out. So re-reviews do take a priority over the new ones.
I mean, thank you. My inclination is to just say, it sounds like both sides are willing to work with each other. I'm inclined to just issue the order, and then if you need more time at the end of 60 days, just let us know and request the extension. Because it sounds like
Okay,
it's not
it
impossible.
sound-
Go ahead.
He just said that he can get the plans back to us in 60 days. So if it takes him 60 days to get them back to us, we're already up against the October 14th deadline.
Okay. Understood. Do you have any other comments? I understand your point there, besides the timing?
No, ma'am.
No. Okay.
Thank you.
If I need to clarify that, I'm saying we can probably review those plans within 30 days or sooner.
Okay.
Just because we're backlogged, I know that, if you choose to do an expedited review, that'll get done a lot sooner, but yes, we do take a priority on resubmittals to keep these plans moving. But probably, we could certainly get it reviewed in 30 days back to you. I
Okay.
just spent 60 days to complete the cycle back, and you come back if the guy is responsive quickly.
Are you opposed to a 90-day?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not because we're so busy.
I understand.
I don't have an issue with that.
I completely understand.
Yes.
And stupid should hurt, Your Honor. We should have done this, and I understand, and, there is going to be some pain. That's why we have no problem paying the expedited fees. I don't want to get into that. We're already paying the expedited plan fees, so.
I really do believe that both sides are trying their best. The county is backlogged. You're paying for expedited fees. I believe both sides of that. So I'll go ahead and issue staff's recommended order, except with a 90-day instead of 60-day. So it will be a compliance date of November 14th. If you're not in compliance by that time, you can request a time extension, but a fine of $50 a day may be imposed if it's not in compliance. No fines as of today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next case is 2135 CESM, respondent Ms. Pendarvis. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tom Henry with the Building Division. For the record, I have submitted a copy of the PowerPoint presentation to the clerk and asked to be admitted into evidence.
It is accepted.
Thank you. This is case 2135 CESM, Carol L. Pendarvis, 1675 Sunset Trail, Geneva. Seminole County, Florida, and the violation charge, Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1, construction without the required permits, installed a mobile home without the required permits. Initial inspection was done 10/23 of '20 with the notice respondent the same day, compliance date and extension 3/2/21 with the executive order, taking some time out there. Follow-up site inspections 6/16 and 8/5 with follow-up inspections via computer 6/16, 8/6, and 8/12. Results of the reinspection, the violation remains on the property. This is a copy of the property appraiser's website showing that the respondent is in fact the owner of the property. This is a copy of a certified return receipt when a certified letter was sent to the respondent. This is an aerial view showing the property, showing at one point in time only one mobile home was on the property. Excuse me, I stand corrected. Aerial of partially showing the two mobile homes taken on 12/22 of '20. Okay, and photograph of the existing mobile home permitted in 1991, taken 6/21 of '21. This is a photograph of the existing mobile home taken 6/21 of '21. Photograph of the second mobile home is not a very clear photograph, taken 6/21 of '21 as well. The home in the yellow circle is the unpermitted new mobile home that was installed on 8/5. The home was taken on 8/5 of '21. And this is a copy of our Navaline showing permits and showing no permits were applied for to correct violations for the new mobile home. This is a copy of Chapter 40, which is what they're in violation of, Section 105.1. Based on testimony and evidence presented in Case 2135 CESM, it is determined that the respondent is the record property holder of the property located at 1675 Sunset Trail in Geneva, in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession and control of the property, and in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Our recommendation is that the magistrate order the respondent to correct the violations on or before October 14th of 2021, or to correct the violation, the respondent shall obtain the required permits for the cited violations. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violations continue or repeated after compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Does the respondent wish to respond?
Yes, hi. My name is Carol Pendarvis. And in the picture that's circled, the blue trailer, that is permitted. That is the one that's supposed to be there. It's the other one that's, it's a storage trailer. It is a single-wide mobile home, but it's being used as storage. There's no electric, running water, or anything going to it. It's got hurricane straps. It's strapped down.
Can we put up the picture for the one she's talking about? Or
Yeah,
The one in the back, the one in the circle is, the one in the yellow circle is the new home?
it's been there since
Okay.
1988. The other one behind it is nope, not that one.
I just
That
want to
one.
see which
That's
one is
the old
not.
mobile home. That's the one you're using for storage.
Yes.
See, it's a
Okay.
mobile home. It's designed for people to live in, not for storage.
But
So,
it's gutted and it's
I
just storage.
right, exactly. But see, it's not, it would have to be determined possibly through an engineer to determine whether or not that structure can be used as a storage trailer. You're basically turning it into a shed. That's what you've done. And the shed, it has to meet the requirements for a shed, which means it has to meet the current wind speed requirements of a minimum 139 miles an hour, and how it's constructed and how it's tied down to make sure that it meets those requirements. Then you also would have to meet zoning requirements as far as setbacks if you want to make it into an accessory structure. And an engineer would have to tell us whether or not that can even be, I don't know how old it is, but if that structure can even be turned into like a shed based on the wind speeds, how it's built. Some of the older homes weren't built obviously like the newer ones are. So,
this is the one that requires a permit?
Another floor loading on it.
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and you agree, this is the unpermitted?
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure we all
Okay, and the engineer would also have to deal with the floor loading of it, because storage has a higher floor loading than humans do, because we move and the storage typically doesn't. It wouldn't be a constant load on it like storage would be.
Well, this was my mom's property, and she passed away, so I inherited it or whatever. So we had to move, and we had to put our stuff somewhere. So we came from like a 2-story to this one, and there was a lot of work that needed to be done to the home. So we purchased the smaller trailer to put our stuff in. It was used just temporary till we can get the other place to where we can move everything in. But we lost our jobs also, so we didn't have, due to the COVID, and we didn't have the means to continue to work on it quick enough to get all our stuff out of that and into the other one. So that's why we have that, and we're trying, it's got hurricane straps to, to hold it down or whatever if we needed to, but we're trying to currently get this one fixed so that we can move everything out of it and get rid of that trailer.
We will get rid of it. It's ugly. We want to get rid of it.
Yeah, but we're
We
trying
just want to get
to,
this other place because the floors are falling in and stuff. Her mother did everything she could when she was alive. It's just that it was just falling apart. So we've done a lot of work already. It's almost ready to be able to just take the rest of our stuff and put in.
And if I might ask, and you're going to tell on yourself probably, but what kind of work have you done? Because some of the work you've done to the home that you want to live in may require permits as well.
This is just drywall under the windows. We replaced a couple studs under the window.
Sir, what was your name? Are you the property owner?
I'm sorry. My name is Jeff Bennett.
Okay,
he lives with me.
Fiance.
we just have to know for the record.
Thank you.
Okay, you got the names?
I just need the last name of them, please.
Bennett, Bennett. So we were in Merritt Island before, and we were helping her mother, and we have cattle, we have the horses and everything out there, what had it already out there, and we were making trips over there every day. So we thought the logical thing to do after she passed was to sell our home in Merritt Island and move out there. And of course, when you go out there, there's an enormous amount of work has to be done quickly, and just clean up of the whole property. I mean, it's an enormous task. And we've been, since the COVID thing, I lost my job, and then she lost her job. So since then, we started our own business. I know it's not really particular to this, but it's just showing you that our work ethics, we work our tails off. So we started an irrigation business up, and we've been working till dark every day, in the last 6 months, just trying to get up to snuff to where we can finish the remodel, the last little bit of the existing trailer that is permitted, and get our stuff out of there, because our stuff's gonna go bad in that trailer anyway. We don't want it in there. It's an ugly trailer. We just did it quick because
It's a temporary.
it's a temporary thing. We want to get it out.
How long do you think it will be until you're able to come into compliance, which would mean either remove it or permit it? Sounds like you want to remove it, so.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
Do they need a permit to remove it? Hold on.
If there are connections connected to it, like electrical, plumbing, and mechanical, they would need to have those disconnected. before they can
Utilities to it would need to be.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's called a demolition permit to demolish it, but they're also going to need a permit for the structure, for the one that you're fixing up, because if you're changing drywall and studs and things, we've got to make sure that it's done in accordance with the code. Now, you don't have to have signed and sealed plans unless we see something in the drawings that make it look suspect structural-wise for your safe, to make sure you're safe with living there. But you need to have a permit for the repairs you're doing to the home that you're going to move into.
Okay, we can look at that issue separately. I'm not sure about that part. I'm not questioning your judgment. I'm just
Right.
saying, if we're in there and we're painting and the wall, the drywall falls through, it's like, oh my gosh, we have a problem here. So we have to fix the drywall, a 2x4 piece, and you tear it out and the wood's rotted right there, so we replace a 2x4. I mean, I don't know how to do that.
Well,
Should we replace open permit kind of thing?
And
or-
nor do I. So what I'm thinking is maybe if you do a survey of what you see, give us a written description of what you plan to do, and then we can make a determination how far you need to go permit-wise.
Okay.
Because you don't know until you hit it. We don't know because we've not been there. So, I mean, if you give us the description of what you're anticipating doing on what you got, then we can then make a better understanding of what kind of permits you would need.
I understand. It's livable now. We live in it. It's not like it's unlivable. It's different than what we used to have. But that's, we can deal with that. So we do want to get rid of the trailer. It was a temporary thing at first, I mean, well, it still is, but I'm just saying, we bought it temporary just from a guy we know had a used trailer, it's a office trailer, and it's gutted. And we thought, well, we'll just put all of our belongings in there. That way, when we were going to build there, but that kind of changed when her mom passed. So this is just a very temporary thing, just put our storage in there, and then fix each room up one at a time. You know, it's a new laminate in there, and, you know, make it look a little nicer, and then bring all of our stuff in. You know, room by room. We've already brought our furniture from our bedroom, and 2 other bedrooms in already. Now it's just like the living room and kitchen.
Understood.
So we're almost done. It's tough, because we're working till dark every day.
Understood. It
Just trying
is. And, you know, from the county's perspective, it's hurricane season, and I don't know if it's going to meet those wind load
Understand.
requirements, but again, for the safety of you all, you don't want it blowing through the windows of your residence or anything else happening to your belongings. So that's the purpose of the permits, but I certainly understand your situation. And how long do you think it will be until you can be permitted or permitted to remove it or permitted to keep it? Either way, permitted.
So do I have to have a permit to remove it?
It sounds like if it's tied down, then yes.
Was this a livable trailer to begin with?
No, we bought it gutted. It was completely gutted.
Was there ever utilities hooked to it?
No, there's still not.
Okay, then this is not a legal trailer on your property, so was it tied down?
A buddy of mine put straps
Oh, okay.
on it. I don't know.
So it's still pullable, it can be pulled out of there?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, if you never had a permit, there's no utilities to it, just remove it. Okay? Otherwise, if you get a permit, it's going to add it to your tax rolls. So that's another thing I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Be mindful of that. If you decide to keep it, it's going to increase your taxes, so,
We don't want it.
okay, so best thing to do would probably just remove it as soon as you get your stuff out.
Okay, so I guess my biggest thing is how long do I need in order to get it out and get my stuff out? And if I have to, I'll get a pod or something like that. I don't know what it takes to get one of those. They're not AC or anything, but no.
They actually do have AC storage. They
Really?
store it if you pay for that, yes.
Well, I mean, in places, and I just think to bring a
Just
pod
be
out, so-
mindful.
Yes.
If you decide to get a portable storage container out there, that cannot be out there more than 6 months. Then it
Okay, that's
becomes
fine.
permanent, then that would need to get a permit. Okay?
I understand.
So we
That's fine.
we don't need anything to bring one out for the 6 months?
Not for temporary storage. Just sit on the ground. It can be there for up to 6 months, and then it becomes permanent, then you need a permit for that.
And I did
Okay.
not mean to say that was air conditioned. I meant if they pick it up and bring it to their unit. So 60 days would be enough for you to find another means of storage?
Get a pod and put it out there and.
Okay. So I appreciate you coming. I will go ahead and issue staff's recommended order. So that means there aren't any fines today. You have until October 14th to come into compliance. And if you come into compliance by that time, there won't be any fines. If you don't, a fine of $50 a day could be imposed, but you'd have another hearing first.
So when we're compliance, we just contact,
You have to notify staff. In the order that I mail to you, or that the clerk is going to mail to you, it will have a phone number, but it will be you, Tom?
Yes.
You'll contact Mr. Helly here, Tom Helly.
sounds good.
My only thing I don't know is, I can contact a company and tell them to come get it, I can sell it, I'm sure a lot of hunting camps and stuff would love to have it, I don't know if they're allowed to. But I mean, I don't know if I can get it out of there in 60 days, I don't know how long it takes them to come get it and get it out.
Don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know,
Yes,
that was my
like
comment, I don't
said,
know.
If they're as busy as the rest of the industry is, you may have a valid point. They may not be able to get it out in time. But since there's no utilities or anything up to it, they're just going to come up and either pick it up and drag it out or cut it up and take it out. So,
They'll drive it out, I'm sure, they just
Yeah.
drove it in there. Okay.
If you can't do it within the 60 days, come back with proof of your efforts.
yes.
I understand.
And you can come back, you can
Shouldn't take
scratch.
much.
Yeah.
Just concern, that's all.
Are you trying to sell the trailer?
Yeah, once we get
I don't know,
everything
can
out.
I guess I can sell it. I don't know.
I don't own the trailer. I'm assuming you own title to the
It's
trailer?
an office trailer.
No?
No.
Then Who owns it?
A buddy of mine had it, and he said, well, another guy wanted to buy it for one of his hunting camps, and I thought, well, I'll take it right now so I can use it for storage, and I don't know, I never bought one before.
Well, things sell on how, if you're going to sell it, things go quickly based on the price and ownership of it, so
Oh, yeah.
if you're giving it away, you could have that thing out tomorrow, I guarantee you, somebody would want to come
Oh, I
and
understand
get
what you're
it.
saying.
Yeah.
We're not trying to
Yeah,
enforce on
exactly.
it.
And
It's
that's
not
all I'm saying.
It's not a beauty.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next case is 2139 CESM. Ms. Espinoza? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tom Helly with Seminole County. For the record, I submitted a copy of the PowerPoint presentation, asked it be admitted into evidence.
It's accepted.
Thank you. This is case 2139 CESM, Jorge and Maria Espinoza, 1651 Viburnum Lane, Winter Park, Seminole County, Florida. Violation charged Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1, construction without the required permits for enclosing a carport without the required permits. The initial inspection was done September 9th of 20, with the notice given the same day with the compliance date and extension 3/21/21, the COVID order in the middle of it, and follow-up and site inspections 8/3, 8/11, and 8/12, along with a couple in 20, one in 20, another one in 21. The results of the reinspection show the violation remains on the property. This is a copy of the property appraiser's website page showing that the respondents are in fact the owners of the property. Again, the return receipt that they were delivered a certified letter. This is a copy of showing a portion of the carport area where it abuts the house. And you see the next pictures that they're trying to close it in. I'm assuming to make it a garage, but I could be wrong. If they're trying to make it living space, then they're enclosing it regardless. And whatever the use is might require the different requirements from what they've got. This is another picture of it from the backside. Okay, go ahead. And another picture that was taken 10/15 and 20. And one that was taken 8/5 of 21. And one was taken 8/11/21. There are no permits for this proposed construction, and the permits are required. This is a copy of chapter. I'll go back. I'm sorry. This is a copy of Chapter 40, which is the code they're in violation of that requires the permit, Seminole County Code. My recommendation, based on the testimony and evidence presented in Case 2139 CESM, is determined that the respondents are the record owners of the property located at 1651 Viburnum Lane, Winter Park, in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession or control of the property, and in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Further recommend the magistrate order the respondents to correct the violation on or before October 14th of 2021. In order to correct the violation, the respondents shall obtain the required permits for the cited violations. If the respondents do not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does the respondent wish to respond?
That's my mom. She doesn't speak English. My name is Maria Espinosa as well.
Okay, have you been sworn in?
I don't think so.
Can we,
Stand up and raise your right hand, please.
Oh.
You swear affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth? Thank you.
thank you.
Dile que lo que te dijo, que tu papá está reconstruyendo para hacer un depósito, pero que tenía un poco de autoridad y que no sabía que había que sacar permiso. Pero desde ese día pusieron el código de duración, se paró la construcción y estamos tratando de buscar un ingeniero de trabajo. no hemos conseguido, pero podemos hacer pero tendremos que estar reuniendo.
She said that when we first came to Florida, she wasn't aware of the permits and the legal stuff. So then my dad started to build some sort of shed, I guess. And as soon as they were notified about the permits, that they stopped construction. And ever since then, well, Corona happened, and then my dad lost his job, and my mom was the only person having an income. And she wasn't able to get the permits or, I guess, talk to an engineer about the print. So,
Queremos hacer el permiso, estamos buscando el ingeniero, pero no hemos conseguido porque quieren hacer obras grandes y no quieren hacer como un cuarto chico.
okay, so what she's saying is that she did look for someone to help her with that, but every time she would try to contact someone, they want like bigger jobs. They don't want to do like something small. So, but she says that she is still looking for someone.
Okay, and what is she looking for someone to do? To prepare drawings or
yeah.
to remove? Okay. Okay. Do you have anything else to add?
Que no, si nos pueden dar permiso dentro de 6 meses o un año más para yo reunir dinero y hacer todo legalmente, como conseguir ingeniero y construir también, terminar de construir.
So she said that she's requesting maybe 6 months so she could gather the money and have enough money for the permits and for the building part.
Okay, we can ask the county how they feel about an extension.
Extension's not a problem. 6 months is a bit long. I understand the industry is very busy, being in the middle of it. I mean, I wouldn't be averse to a 30-day extension.
Okay, so
Giving her
90.
40, or giving her, yeah,
So it would be 90 days.
go 9 days.
I gotcha. Okay. The county is willing to give you 90 days, and if you could let your mom know.
Dile que si en 3 meses quiere que yo tenga el permiso y la construcción terminada.
So what exactly is needed to be done within those 90 days?
So you would have to obtain permits, all of the required permits. I can defer to the county as to what permits you need.
Correct. You will need a building permit, and depending upon the scope of it, you might need an electrical permit, which is tied to the building permit, and meeting all the applicable requirements. They would have to show us, an architect or an engineer would have to show us how, because right now it's an open-sided, well, it's built as an open-sided carport where wind can blow right through it. Once you start closing up the walls, it changes how that structure reacts when hit by high wind. So the architect or engineer would have to determine how to close it in to make it meet the current wind speed requirements, to make sure that it doesn't blow away in the event of a hurricane coming through, to make it structurally sound. So, and depending upon those requirements, you know, and we would, the review time depends on, with us being busy, it depends on how quick you get it into us, and we turn them around as quick as we can with staff. But, you know, the first step is finding, which I understand she's having trouble with finding one, architect or an engineer, because of the industry being as busy as it is. But that's the first step, is finding an architect or an engineer, having the plans drawn up, and then applying for the permit. Applying for the permit does not take care of the violation. It does show that you're trying to come into compliance, but the violation would continue. But you do have the right to come back and ask for more time, as long as you're, well, you can ask whether you're doing anything or not, but whether or not we would be opposed to it would determine on you showing what you're trying to do. If you have an application in for the system being reviewed, I mean, that's more favorable than just saying I'm not going to do anything. Then I'm saying, well, remove it and get a permit to remove it, and then you'd be in compliance, putting it back like it was.
Question for you, do they need plans submitted if they get a demolition permit?
Well,
Engineer?
if they're going to take the whole building down, no, but if they're going to just go in and take out what they're doing, they might, because I don't know how it's built, not having done an inspection on it, just
Okay.
from the street, taking pictures of the violation, so I don't know what they've done to it.
So just removing the carport would require
It would require a demolition permit, yes, to remove the whole carport, yes. And then
And
they
they
might,
need plans to remove the whole carport?
they would just need it'd just be a demolition permit with a site plan showing what it is and how they're going to remove it.
Okay.
If they go in there and just take it down, haul it off, it's not an issue.
Is it attached to the primary structure?
Is it attached?
Is the carport
I
attached
believe it is.
to the house?
Attached to the primary structure, we wouldn't need a plan for that.
The only thing that was added to the house was the blue stuff. Everything else was already like the way it was.
Yeah, it is attached, the whole thing is. But if they want to take out, I don't know what it looks like, might be foam board or something in there.
Was
But it
the
is,
carport there before?
She's saying that it was there except for the blue.
The blue part,
Yeah,
yeah,
the blue.
everything was there except for
Yeah.
the blue part that was added. I think it's some sort of board
that's
stuff.
putting infill in it, so yeah, it's attached. So yeah,
Okay, so it was a
Yep.
carport before?
Yeah, everything was the
Yes.
way it was. It's
And
just
what
that,
about the supporting posts or columns there? Were they still there?
yeah, everything was there.
Okay,
Everything as
so
it was.
you're just infilling in between the existing structural.
It would
That's
just
what-
be an infill removal,
Right,
and that's pretty simple.
Yes.
You can do a drawing, hand drawing on that. Just submit with your demo permit if you wanted to do that.
So if she doesn't want to continue with the structure, she just wants to take it all down, does she need a demolition?
So they're saying you need a
Yes.
demolition
Yes.
permit, but you don't need all of the engineered drawings if you're
Correct.
just removing the infill.
if you're just,
The
yeah,
blue
if
stuff.
you're just reviewing what you put in. If you take the whole carport out, then you need signed seal plans because it's attached to the home. But if she's just removing the blue infill stuff, you don't need signed seal plans, you just need a permit.
All right, can I have a minute to explain that to you?
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to explain that.
Yes, ma'am.
Quitar todo, que es la mayor parte de la parte azul, que no necesitas dibujos, que solamente necesitas un permiso de demolición. Pero si quieres continuar con eso, necesitas un permiso de construir y un permiso de electricidad. Y
So if she wants to continue building it, she would need a building permit and an electrician?
She would need a permit for a remodel, okay? I'm sorry, what are you planning on using what's she planning on using the room for?
It's just a shed.
Just for a shed-like storage? Okay. She would need a permit because you're infilling it, it would be signed and sealed plans, architect or engineer, and then electrical would be part of that permit as well. We do one inclusive permit for everything.
Question. Ma'am, is there a light in there, carport?
And the
Light
carpet,
in the
no.
attic? I mean, in the
Okay,
ceiling?
so the code would require you to have a light inside that shed for storage, so,
There is a light, but, so there's like a little room. It's like, it's not even a room, it's like a
there's a
little
room
closet.
inside that carport there?
Yes, and that one has a light.
Inside
It
that?
already came with the house.
Right,
That's how
right.
the
So-
house was built.
Correct. So
But yeah, the light is in
so all
the
you would need
little
would be a
closet.
light in that storage room, outside of that room, so that would be electric on that.
Okay.
Okay?
But if they're close to the whole storage, you need the light for the whole
Y
thing.
dice que-
But if she continues and closes the whole thing, she's going to need a light inside the area she's using for storage because it's enclosed, so.
So for that, she needs the remodeling permit
Sure.
and then the electrical?
Yes. Well, electrical permit will be a part of the
Remodeling?
of the remodel.
Okay.
It's just a separate line item, separate fee. But then she would need to have signed sealed plans because of changing the structural integrity.
So basically, she needs the permits and then the drawings, right?
Yes.
Sorry.
She need the drawings first, and she would submit them for a permit and run through the process.
Okay.
And she would need a site plan, because I'm sure zoning, I don't know if zoning would have a problem with it, but just a basic, when they purchased the property, did they make them get a survey?
I think they did.
Okay, if they did, then that could be your site plan. All she'd have to do is make 2 copies of that and highlight the area where this work is happening on the survey, because they would have to go to zoning and see if they have any issues with it from a land use point of view.
Okay.
dice que si quieres seguir construyendo tienes que sacar un permiso de remodelación y de electricidad y tienes que tener los dibujos, los planos y del survey, le haces copia a los surveys y le haces highlight a la parte donde quieres remodelar.
Ok. Pero dile que si por favor que me dé más tiempo, porque en 3 meses es muy poco para yo pagar al ingeniero y construir.
Dice que en los permisos, necesitas sacar los permisos. Con que saques los permisos vas a seguir en violación, pero te pueden extender el tiempo para que puedas construir.
Y me dan hasta para que ese permiso hasta octubre 14, ¿no?
The extension for the permits is until October 14, right?
Correct. That's what staff
Yes,
is
that's our
recommending.
recommendation is 2 months.
And then you said that after she gets the permits, she would still be in violation.
No, ma'am. Once she gets the permit for what she's doing, the reason she's in violation is she doesn't have a permit for what she's doing. Once she gets the permit issued for what she's doing, she's no longer in violation. And then the timing of the permit, which is 180 days, kicks in, and she has time to continue. Every time she gets an approved inspection, she gets more time added to it. So the code allows you, with a permit, the time necessary to do the renovations. The problem you have is she needs to get the permit issued before that time can begin. That's what our timing is, because she's done it without a permit. So, yes, once she gets a permit, she has more time.
And just to be clear, what he was saying earlier was when she applies for the permit, she's still in violation.
Correct.
But once the permit is
Oh,
issued,
okay.
she's compliant.
Got it.
Aunque cuando te aprueban el permiso, te van a dar 180 días para que puedas construir.
Ok. Yo tengo que tramitar permiso hasta octubre 14. Fecha.
Sí. Y de ahí te van a dar más tiempo para construir.
Ok, está bien.
Okay.
Okay? And are you requesting the 90 days, or are you okay with 60?
90 días.
Sí, 90.
90.
Okay, and I think the county has already
I have no
indicated
problem with
that's
that,
fine.
yeah.
So I will go ahead and issue staff's recommended order, except instead of October 14th, you'll have until November 14th to obtain permit,
Thank you.
okay? There's no fines at this time, but if you do not come into compliance by November 14th, a fine of $50 a day may be imposed, but you'd have a hearing first.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hasta noviembre, ¿no? 14.
The next case is a lien hearing, 2020 CESM, respondents Caswell and Mueller. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. This is a special request. The case was originally heard, case 2020 CESM Hunter Caswell. The case was originally heard by the Special Magistrate March 12, 2020, an order issued giving the respondents a compliance date of May 11, 2020. Affidavit of noncompliance was filed by the inspector after reinspection on May 26, 2020. An affidavit of compliance was filed by the inspector after reinspection on May the 7th of 2021. Recommendation, the special magistrate issue an order reducing the fine to the administrative costs totaling $345.24, and order these costs be paid within 30 days, or the fine will revert to the original amount of $3,250 and will constitute a lien on the property. This concludes my presentation.
Could you just repeat that amount of reduced, is it
$345.24.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Does the respondent do you wish to respond?
Hunter Caswell. Yes, I was just seeing if I could petition for a waiver reduction of the fine. I do understand that it's just the administrative cost for it. I understand the time that passed between when the original hearing was and when we came into compliance, but that was the first day of when COVID shut everything down. My wife lost her job, and we were under hardship for about 6 months, and then we're quarantined also and working from home until we were vaccinated. Then I got the permit, got everything corrected at that time. But we ran into some issues too because of the mixed zoning for our land, that we had to make further adjustments to the fencing in order to be in compliance and to close out the permit.
Understood. But the county has waived the lien other than the $345.24.
Okay.
24 administrative costs.
Right.
So are you asking for an additional waiver, or are you
That was
okay
it,
with that?
yeah, to ask,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, so then you should be, you have gotten what you asked for, because the county has agreed to impose only the administrative costs, so you'll be responsible for $345.24. Now, if that isn't paid within the 30 days, then they can go back and impose the higher amount, which was $3,250, I believe.
Yes, ma'am.
So is there any reason you think you can't pay that in 30 days?
No, that's fine.
Okay, thank you. You will get an order in the mail.
I will, okay.
Yeah, that
And
explains that.
the 30 days starts from today, correct?
Yes.
Or from when I receive the order?
It will be from today. Thank you. Okay, the next case is 2111 CESM, respondents Gilbert and Swearington. Good afternoon.
Sorry, I'm not familiar with the case, so I was waiting for the PowerPoint to come up.
Yep.
Okay, a special request. Gilberts and Swearington requesting, case was originally heard by the special magistrate on June 10th, 2021. An order was issued giving the respondents a compliance date of August 12th, 2021. Respondents are requesting additional time to comply.
How much time?
She just says additional. I'm looking to see what, this
Well,
is a
we can ask-
garage conversion. Yes.
We can ask the respondents then.
How much time were you thinking about? I'm sorry.
Hi, Chelsea Swearingen, and this is my mom, Nancy Gilbert. We were here 2 months ago for a violation for three different violations, one being an unpermitted shed, an unpermitted fence, and French doors, as you see there. We have gotten 2 out of the 3 permits. So for the unpermitted shed and the unpermitted fence, we've got those permitted. We're having a little delay on the third one, the French doors, because we applied for the permit, but we applied for it with an attachment to building a guest suite. And so we've gotten corrections. Oh, yeah, we got engineer plans. We received the revisions on 6/26 for the guest suite. So we can't get the permit completed for the French doors until all the revisions are met for the guest suite. And on 6/26, we received the revisions. We emailed them to the department on 6/28, and we got a response back. Is this here? Received correction. On 7/19, we got a response back from Walt and Stacy asking us to clarify if the guest suite was a guest suite or a accessory dwelling unit, and there were stipulations for each, whichever way we went. So we have been trying to get in contact with Stacy. We've left her several voicemails with no return phone call, and we got our engineer to produce the changes or corrections needed for a guest suite conversion, and we have those, and we can submit those. So I don't know how much longer we need, because I don't know if they're going to come back with more revisions to that guest suite.
Understood. Do you have anything to add, or?
I did a real quick check just before the hearing started. She's correct, they do have corrections needed, and, she cannot get the permit issued and get the violation corrected until she gets the corrections done and back up through plan review. So I know they've been dealing with it for a while, but, they have to clarify for zoning, and then I don't have the corrections on what the actual corrections are with building, but they do have to correct everything before they can get that permit issued.
Okay.
This is Nancy Gilbert. We've had submitted the plans from the engineer, and this is about third or fourth time it comes back, and it wants a revision, and then we send it to the engineer, submit it, they want something else, submit it, something else. So we,
Understood.
And now it's gotten to the point where our engineer is pretty over it, and he's...
Angry.
He has responded to Walt and us that the counties are being very demanding, and he doesn't know how long it's going to take, although we do have the corrections.
we just got the last correction requested. We're going to submit that tomorrow. We have to do it in paper form. So we're going to come tomorrow to do it. She's working today.
I'm in the middle of a shift right now.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the 90 days, and then if you have a problem, come back.
Okay.
With the evidence you have here, where you have dates and everything, that's very helpful to show us how hard you're working at trying to, come into compliance.
How do we resolve the issue of they're asking us, is it a guest suite or an ADU? We're requesting a guest suite.
I would suggest is that a planning, zoning, or a?
It sounds more like, I'm not sure, I'd have to look at the code to see what it says, but it sounds like more of a zoning requirement than building code, because if it's a guest suite, it may have to be treated other than single family, such as like a motel or something, that you're renting out or that kind of thing, but.
Yes,
It's the question whether is it being used for?
Yes, it's the use.
No, it's a guest suite, and we want it permitted as a guest suite, but we don't know how. When we got the last revision request, it said if it's an ADU, you need this, and if it's a guest suite, you need this. So we can't, it's a guest suite, but we don't know how to communicate that because we called Stacy.
But when you say guest suite, do you mean family member guest suite or something you want to rent out?
Family member guest suite. No, it's not rented. It's for out-of-town guests and things like that. It's not rented, no.
Right. I mean, that may, because it sounds like that the biggest issue you have is with zoning, and that's because of the use of the structure, the use of what the room is. You might want to contact, if you can't get hold of Stacy, there are other people you can go to. I know
A suggestion would be, they're on the second floor.
Yes.
You could go up right after this and tell them your issue, and they'll tell you who to speak with.
We'll do it tomorrow. She's got to get back to work.
Okay,
yeah.
I just figured because you were here.
May I also, while you're here, I believe Walt was your building plan review. Speak with him as well while you're here.
Okay.
He can address and speak to the building code side of it, because he's the one that reviewed it for us, for building. Whereas if Stacy's not there, there are other reviewers up there, as well as supervisors that can look at it and make a determination.
Okay.
It's not very helpful, sorry, to be honest.
Well, what's the question that we're not answering?
It seems like, so Brooke Stacy sent us almost like a question. Is this going to be a guest suite or a single dwelling unit?
Let me interrupt you. Is Brooke Stacy a planner or a building inspector?
She's a planner.
Okay.
She's with Development Review.
That tells me what I need to know. Go ahead.
Okay. And so we're trying to go down one route, but before we go down that one route, we need to relay and make sure that that's okay.
Well, the reason I'm throwing the question out is because, see, you've got two different divisions. You've got the Land Development Code, which may say one thing, while our building code, which is the state code, may call it something different depending upon the intended use. And that might conflict with zoning, which you really probably need to talk to both of them to find out what they're looking for. Because like I said, the Land Development Code may require one thing, and the building code could require something else as far as making, the place safe for people to stay in.
But if you've already determined which one you are, I think what you're saying is you already know that it's a guest suite.
Yes.
And you just want to communicate that to the appropriate person.
Because what we don't want is to submit yet another revision and have them come back and say,
oh, it can't be a guest suite.
Understood.
Because the requirements were different.
Let me ask staff, who is the supervisor for Brooke? Do we know that?
I have.
Okay. You should contact Kathy Hamill.
H-A-M-I-L?
She will help you.
H-A-M-E-L?
And you can copy Liz Parkhurst to the email. Just she'll make sure that Kathy gets it.
Do we have emails?
Well,
or
Liz
phone
is right
numbers?
here, and she's going to give you her card.
Okay.
And that's how we're going to make sure that you get to the right person.
You can sense our frustration because we're trying to do it. We're
Understood, and I don't
seriously-
know the situation with people being out, and I know it's difficult times, and that's why we're trying to make
Very
sure you
difficult.
have multiple contacts. So this would be to address the planning, zoning, use issue, okay?
Correct. Yep.
Once you get that resolved, then you can deal with the building code, because like Tom testified, the building code is different for an ADU, an
Yes.
accessory dwelling unit versus the guest suite.
Yes, we are aware of that.
Okay. It sounds like you're set with that then, and 90 days. And then if you have an issue, come back in 90 days.
So November 14th
Yes,
to get the permits.
yes. That's the request.
Yes, that's the
Permit.
violation, yes, to have the
Permit.
permit issued, yes, ma'am. You don't have to have the work done, just the
Yes.
permit issued,
Right.
because the fact you don't have a permit is what the violation is.
Right, yes.
You can also contact Walt. I don't have his contact information with me, but.
We do.
I'm here.
This is our second home now,
Okay,
so.
Here. Yeah, we've been here.
got you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. That concludes all of the hearings for which there is a respondent present. Is there any other respondent in the room? Okay. Then we will move on to case number 2120, CESM, respondent Mary T. Swisher.
Yes, fine.
If you want to help me, you can. Okay, thank you. Mary Robinson, Planning and Development. I have submitted the PowerPoint to the clerk as evidence. This is Mary T. Swisher, 120 North Sunland Drive, Sanford, Seminole County. The violation charge is violation of Seminole County Land Development Code, Chapter 30, Part 12, Section 30.202. Description of the violation is outdoor storage is not a permitted use in the R1 AA zoning district. Case summary, the initial inspection was 3/20 of 20. Notice to the respondent was 3/21/20, which was an advisory due to the executive order that shut down any active code enforcement. And then again on 4/12/21 was an official notice of violation. The initial compliance date was immediately, the second compliance date she was given until 4/26/21. Follow-up inspection were 5/11/21 and 8/2/21. The outdoor storage remains on the subject property. This is the property appraiser's property card showing that Ms. Swisher is current owner. The certified mail receipt of notice of hearing. This is the subject property of 120 Sunland with the outdoor storage on 5/11/21. And again, this was taken on 8/2/21, showing outdoor storage. The suggested recommendation is based on the testimony and evidence presented in the case 2120 CESM. It's determined the respondent is the owner of record located at 120 North Sunland Drive, in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's record. The respondent is in possession or control of the property and is in violation of Seminole County Land Development Code, Chapter 30, Part 12, Section 30.202. It is recommended that the special magistrate order respondent to correct the violation on or before October 14th of 2021. In order to correct the violation, the respondent shall remove the outdoor storage from the property. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 a day will be imposed each day the violation continues. The respondents must contact code enforcement officer to arrange for an inspection of the property to verify compliance. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, so ordered. The next case is 2121 CESM, respondent Kathleen Cuba. Thank you.
Mary Robinson, Planning and Development. This is 2121 CESM, Kathleen Cuba, 3451 Don Court, Lake Mary, Florida, Seminole County. I have submitted the hard copy PowerPoint to the clerk for evidence. The violation charge, Seminole County Land Development Code, Chapter 30, Part 12, Section 30.202, description of violation, outdoor storage were not permitted in an R1AA single-family dwelling district. Case summary, the initial inspection was 3/10 of 20. Notice to the respondent was 3/18/20, 3/19/20, and advisory on that one. The next one was 4/1 of 21, official notice of violation, with compliance dates of 3/18/20 and 4/15/21. Follow-up inspections and postings, 5/26/21, 4/14/21. I got those reversed, sorry, and 8/2 of 21. The outdoor storage remains on the subject property. This is the property card verifying that Kathleen Cuba is the owner of the property. These are pictures taken 3/10 of 20 of the outdoor storage on the property. This was taken also on 3/10 of 20. This was a photograph taken 4/14/21 showing the outdoor storage is still present on the property. This one was taken on 5/26 of 21. Based on the testimony and evidence presented in the case, it is determined the respondent is the owner of record of the property located at 3451 Don Court, located in Seminole County, as determined by property appraiser record, is in possession or control of the property, and is in violation of Seminole County Land Development Code, Chapter 30, Part 12, Section 30.202. It's further recommended the special magistrate order the respondent to correct the violation on or before October 14th of 2021. In order to correct the violation, the respondent shall remove the outdoor storage from 3451 Don Court, Lake Mary, Florida, 32746. If the respondents do not comply with the order, a fine of $50 a day will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. The respondents must contact code enforcement officer to arrange for an inspection of the property to verify compliance, and that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, and I note that the respondent is not here, but Mr. Larson has asked if he can speak.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Thomas Larson. I'm here on behalf of the other 11 homeowners on Don Court. We've had a problem with this house since it was purchased in July of 2017. There was some immediate construction started with a lot of privacy blinds and multi-layered fencing put in the property, and this went on for about 12 months. Nobody has lived in that house for a considerable amount of time since the property was purchased in 2017. A lot of construction was started. There was a lot of code violations that were listed on the county website. Several neighbors inquired about the code violations. We couldn't get to the permitting board that was mounted because it was well back into the property, and they've got posted no trespassing signs up everywhere and actually wooden barricades on the one driveway. There is debris, construction debris, and just a general mess everywhere on this property. It's a 1.3 acre property. We're in our third hurricane season with this debris there. We are very concerned about the damage that could be caused by this debris. The homeowner has communicated with one neighbor via email when she let her know that the violation was posted on the property. And she said, well, it's going to be foreclosed on eventually anyway, so I don't know what they're talking about. There's not really anything there. There may not be anything in the house. There's some stuff in there that you can see through the window, but the level of construction debris and just general mess that's on the property is unacceptable, and it's at the entrance of our cul-de-sac.
Understood, and I appreciate you coming to share that. I find that the county did establish its case anyway with regard to this violation, but I would note just for the county to maybe I mean, he did indicate that the property's vacant. I don't know if it's in violation of the registration code, but you could look into that. So thank you for the information, and they are found in violation, so they will have, I'm not going to give them until October 14th. I'll shorten the time and make it 30 days because it's dangerous to have that in the yard, and the respondent is not here to give us any reason to push it out 60 days, so they will have until September, what is the appropriate date, the 9th? Yellow date? Okay, well, the compliance date will be September 9th, 2021. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next case, let me see if there are any more. I think we have one left, and it's 2138 CESM. Respondent Young.
Good afternoon, Tom Helly with the Building Division. I have submitted a copy of the PowerPoint presentation to the clerk and asked to be admitted as evidence.
It is accepted.
Thank you. This is case 2138 CESM, Leslie E. and Alice Young, 251 12 League Circle, Castleberry, unincorporated Seminole County, violation charged. Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1, installed a shed without the required permits. Initial inspection was done September 14th of 20 with a notice given the same day. Compliance date and extension on 3/2 of 21. Executive order, COVID suspending time. Follow-up site inspections 8/11/21, 8/2 of 21, 8/11/21. Follow-up inspections via computer 9/18/20, 1/21/21, 8/12/21. Results of the re-inspections, the violation remains on the property. This is a copy of the property appraiser's website page showing that the respondent is in fact the owners. This is the certified letter where they were sent the letter, copy, receipt. We have two sheds. Now, the one shed is permitted. It was permitted, if I recall, and I think the next screen will show that, in '06, but there's another shed installed without a permit. And you'll see the two sheds sitting there. Okay, you get to one second line, shows that in 2006 they had a permit for a shed. The permit for the top one, 19, was a shed that went void and never got issued. So that's the shed and the violation in question. This is a copy of Chapter 40, Section 105.1, which is what they're in violation of. Based on testimony evidence presented in case 2138 CESM, it's determined that the respondents are the record owners of the property located at 251 12 League Circle, Altamont Springs, in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession or control of the property and in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 40, Appendix A, Section 105.1. Further recommend that the magistrate order the respondents to correct a violation on or before October 14th of 2021. In order to correct a violation, respondents shall obtain the required permits for the cited violation. If the respondents do not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. So ordered.
Thank you.
I believe that is it for our cases for the day, correct, Madam Clerk? Okay, and there is no September hearing, so the minutes. The July minutes are hereby approved. And our next hearing date is October 14th. Thank you.